Since you clicked on this video, I want to mention that we both have been in the same boat. And that same boat is of spending hours doing research, procrastination, and watching multiple productivity videos, planning everything perfectly. But still, at the end of the day, I never used to have anything productive. And this is very strange because you can have the right set of tools, you can have the right advice, you can have everything in place, you can have the perfect roadmap and that perfect Notion template, but despite that, nothing moves. And earlier, I used to think it was my discipline, it was my motivation. But eventually, I realized that no, it was not my laziness or it was not my lack of discipline or motivation. I was getting in my own way. How? Because I was thinking too much. Today, I want to unpack why our brains do this and how a simple shift in thinking can simply change how you approach work, life, and anything new that you're learning. So, why do we get stuck? Our human brains don't care about success, don't care about money, they care about safety. So, uncertainty, when it arrives, it feels unsafe. So, before starting any project or before starting your work or anything, your brain starts to ask these questions. You might have felt it. Questions like, what if this is going to fail? What if people are going to judge me? What if this is the wrong path? What if this is not my identity? So, all these questions arise because uncertainty feels unsafe. And what we end up doing is instead of answering those questions, we start to research even more. We look up more tutorials, we look up more articles, we look at more videos. And ironically, what happens is this exact thing feels productive, and it feels productive enough that we eventually forget that we have to build something. And there's a very specific concept in psychology referred to as avoidance coping. So instead of confronting the uncertainty that we are presented with, we tend to replace it with preparation. And why preparation? Because that preparation feels responsible. And the thing is, this preparation is sometimes wearing a suit, and which makes us feel like we are doing something productive, but we are not taking any action towards our goals, towards whatever we thought we should have been doing or we should be doing. And then you might have noticed perfectionism joins the chat. And what perfectionism does is you try to convince yourself to get better. And this is not in a helpful sense. This is like, once I'll be having a better plan, I'll execute. Or once I'll be having this product in a good enough state, then I'll be launching this. Or it might be something like, once I'll be having my skills up to the mark, then I'll start pushing further. And during this, you might have noticed the good enough thing or that perfect thing keeps on moving further and further away. It's like chasing a horizon, it never gets closer. Another reason why we freeze is cognitive overload. Every decision that you make is having a cost. For example, should I start freelancing? Should I build a SaaS? Should I post on LinkedIn? Should I start a YouTube channel? The more options that we are going to have, the less likely we are going to choose anything. In current day and age, in current life, we see there are tons and tons of opportunities, tons and tons of possibilities, and our brains are not designed for these infinite possibilities. It is designed to pick a direction and move. Back when I used to fascinate a lot about game development, I came across this game engine that is Pico 8. I used to watch tons and tons of videos, even of Unity game engine, even Pico 8. I used to browse Pinterest looking at beautiful, beautiful games. And I even used to play a lot of games on itch.io that were made by Pico 8, and it fascinated me. And what I ended up doing was I kept repeating that same tutorial, that same platformer tutorial again and again, because I felt like my skills aren't going to be enough. So I need to polish my skills further and further until I get perfect on it. And then I'll be starting with the game. And one day, what happened was I just opened it, thought of a simple basic idea, and I just went on with it. I just started implementing it. And that night was one of the most amazing nights of my life. During the entire night, I worked on that game. I started with the character and I ended up making the scene, and I kept on polishing it over and over again until it became something that I actually like. At that point, I felt like, okay, I had to push through. I had to start it. And that's the reason I got there. I was continuously trying to protect myself from finding out whether I could actually do it. Once you ship something, the reality gives you feedback. And that feedback is uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. The difference comes in because the planning phase or that preparation phase never gives you any real feedback. It never criticizes you. The feedback is given to you once you actually ship the thing. So the reality gives you that data, and you are only going to receive that data once you start shipping, once you start making something. Okay, so let's keep all these things aside and shift our thinking for a bit. I want you to think like a software developer first. There's a concept in software development that is referred to as MVP, that is minimum viable product. So the thing is, you don't actually go ahead and plan the entire or make the entire perfect product all at once. Instead, you build it in small versions. It is actually going to teach you something interesting. You ship, you receive information, you improve, and you ship back again. Now, just imagine applying this exact thing on yourself. Instead of making version 1, you start with version 0.1. Okay. Treat yourself like a software, ship something, make something, patch it once you receive the information, and repeat it all over again. Okay. Whatever information that you're going to receive after implementation is feedback. And you take that feedback, analyze it, and apply it. Okay, so there has to be a solution to this. So, what action plan or what practical action plan should we have to get this out of the way? That analysis paralysis. So, step one is to shrink the shrink mission, not by 10%, but by 90%. I don't want you to execute your 100% of the plan in one go. Reduce it by 90% and then execute it. For instance, if you're writing an essay, don't write the whole essay. Write a single paragraph. If you're building an application, don't make the entire thing. Just make a single page or make a single screen. If you're going to study for 6 hours, don't study for 6 hours straight. Build the momentum first, because momentum is what's going to beat your ambition. Okay, this is going to happen every single time. So in session 1, you can have a 15-minute session of studying. In session 2, you can stretch it to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and build that momentum of sitting. And this might be different from person to person as well. One person might take 2 to 3 sittings of 15 minutes, while the other person might take less. Number 2, you have to replace your goals with evidences, because evidence is what is going to feed your confidence. Instead of talking about have you reached your goal or not today, you should be talking about what actions have you taken and what evidences you have that shows that you are moving forward towards your goal. You need to collect proof, and after you collect enough proof and enough evidence that you are progressing towards your goal, your confidence is going to follow automatically. Number three, you need to measure things based upon the outputs, not the preparation. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, what have you produced? Not what you have learned. What have you produced? Is it a page that you have written? Is it a design that you have made? Is it a conversation that you did with somebody? Or have you made a prototype? Because the world is going to reward your outputs, not the intentions. Perfect, and it's not waiting for you to make that perfect decision. It is going to be built by actions. Those actions might be imperfect, but this is what's going to result into something. This channel is going to be my own experiment. I'll be exploring psychology, philosophy, career growth, productivity, all these things. And if any part of that is resonating with you, I would love to have you here. Not because I have all the answers, but because I genuinely believe that we can become a better builders of ourselves, our work, and our careers as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I want you to close this video and start shipping something, even if it's ugly, and especially if it's ugly. I want you to do that. I'll see you around.